Usually the golden week of the national holiday is like 5 or 7 days. And the first 2 days will be the most crowded day. So try to avoid the most top historical sites on the first 2 days.
I've adjusted to the point where I'll just blitz my way through crowds now. I'll just be bumping into people and I don't say anything now. It's funny because I didn't realize until I saw you today that I actually hired Chen last year. When my parents were here, I knew you guys brought an English tour guide, but I didn't know it was the one that I hired last year. I watched him that guy looks familiar. And I'm that's
fate.
Chen.
Fate and China Popcast brings them together again.
Yeah.
Please follow me, ladies and gentlemen. Day tour to China Popcast.
Welcome to the China Popcast, where we unpack culture and social trends popping in today's China and maybe even the world. In this episode, we are talking about traveling in China over the summer. And in studio with us today, we have tour guide Chen Hongpeng, who we will refer to as Chen, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Who works with tour groups in Beijing and other places. He's a seasoned guide and he's shown thousands of international visitors around the country. And then we also have our colleague Jack Klumpp, a host of one of our sister shows, China Travel, who has been traveling around China for TV shows and social media for several years and hosted his family for visits as well. And to kick us off, we have another surprise, a new host, Min Rui. And with her comes a new segment. Min Rui has joined China Popcast and she's going to get us going with a quick fire round of questions. Our guests have panels with them with yes and no symbols. So between Min Rui and I, we're going to ask some questions to test their knowledge about travel in China.
Yeah.
As they answer, they will hold up their answers and say yes or no, and then we will tell them the answer to each question.
Yeah. Do all foreign visitors need a visa when they travel to China? Yes or no? No. Why is that?
China actually newly introduced the visa-free policy, but depends on the nationality of the visitors. So for most visitors, it would be a 30-day free, visa-free. And also, but somehow for some countries, it's like a 240-hour transit visa-free policy.
Bingo, yeah, that's right. Because China now have two main visa policies. One is visa-free policy, and the other one is transit-free visa policy. So it's always good to check out the website of the Chinese embassy before you come to China.
Okay, question number 2 is about what you drink. Tap water in Chinese hotels. Is it safe for direct drinking? Yes or no? So we've got 2 no's, and the answer is in fact no.
Yeah.
Tap water in China is for washing only. Only drink bottled water or boiled water to avoid any discomfort.
All right, so the next question goes, foreign visitors can take subway and high-speed trains in China with their foreign passport. Can they or can they not?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a yes from both of you.
Yes.
So that's because foreign passports are valid ID for high-speed trains and subway registration, and you can buy tickets and board directly with your passport for the high-speed train, which is one of my favorite things because a couple of years ago you needed to show a paper ticket, and now to get on the high-speed train, here's my passport, they scan it and the gate opens and then you get onto the train, which is amazing. Okay, so the next question is, foreign tourists can check in at any small local homestay or budget hotel in China, yes or no? We've got 1 yes and we've got 1 no. And the answer
I'm not sure.
is...
I'm kind of on the fence on this one.
The answer is unfortunately no.
Can I change my answer? Change. No.
Not all
delete that part.
Well, we're allowed to make mistakes. Not all homestays can accept foreign tourists. Only hotels and homestays with foreign reception qualification can check in overseas tourists. I think it's best to use a travel website because they will normally filter out all the ones that you can't book at and only give you access to the ones that you can book.
The next one goes to, is it impolite or rude to tip waiters or tour guide in China? Is it?
Since I'm a tour guide, I definitely give a big no.
I I would give a yes, probably to waiters, but to tour guides it's kind of different.
I think it depends on different situations and different people because China doesn't have a tipping culture. But if you have a good reason, then tip them anyway.
Yeah, because basically all the service fee was included in the quotation. So you don't have to tip if you don't feel want to tip. That's the case.
It's typically not custom, but I remember when my parents were traveling here last year, my stepdad, he tried that thing where, like on the mountain where they carry you on the, what's that thing called? It's called a jiaozi.
Sedan.
Like a sedan,
like
right?
Sedan.
And my stepdad was like, oh, they must be like exhausted. So he like really himself wanted to give them a tip. So they were still happy about it.
Yeah.
But typically, it's not the norm to give tips for most things in China.
I've also just dealt with a very confused waitress before. Like when I first came to China and I tipped and she was looking at us, she almost seemed upset and I wasn't sure why. She was so confused about this, but she made sure we got our money back. But it is very surprising for a lot of people who are just used to giving tips everywhere.
She just thought your math was bad.
She thought my math was bad. She's like, what are these people doing? They can't count.
This poor guy doesn't know numbers.
And for our last question, is China safe for foreign solo travelers, including at night?
Yeah, I would say so.
We've got 2 yeses, and the answer is, we say it's yes. China is widely recognized as one of the safest travel countries. Public security is reliable even for solo travelers and night walking. And if you want to know more about that, our episode in May covered China safety. We've got a lot more information over there about what's it like to experience security in China and safety. And that brings us to our next segment. The winner would be, I'm not sure who's counting, but I would say both of you.
I don't think Chen got one wrong.
I don't think he got anything wrong.
I got 1 or 2 wrong.
Your prize is our admiration and our gratitude for being on China Popcast today.
It's unfair competition to compete with it.
Yeah, I think I can still keep my license. Since I got
Definitely, you guys are like full of information and little anecdotes and useful facts that I think our viewers would and our listeners would appreciate.
Yeah, so these above 6 questions were coming out of our assumption when foreign travelers visiting China. But in real life, they might face different situations and have real life problems. So we actually took the street and went to interview several of the foreign visitors in China, and the videos are here. Let's take a look.
Sometimes we charge working, sometimes we charge not working, but we get Alipay, and sometimes, most of the time, I just try to pay in advance to not be in trouble or embarrassment to the application is not working or the internet is not working.
When we were searching where we would like to go on Skyscanner, we saw that from Geneva, the rates that were the cheapest, it was for China.
So that's why we came here.
The only thing that we would have known is that one Alipay for the bus is only for one person. So when we are 2, it's a bit difficult because one of us had to pay his ticket by cash, so we didn't know that. And we would had known that we have to set up all in Switzerland, because here we tried to put my card on Alipay and it didn't work.
One Alipay can't be shared with 2 persons. That's the real life problem. And also for this Colombian guest, yes, he mentioned that sometimes WeChat is working, sometimes Alipay is not working. So it depends on different situations. Have you ever met with these scenarios before?
I generally think payment is a very important thing when you travel to China, because the payment system is a little bit different from the elsewhere of the world, because it's mainly digital payment now. So my suggestion is actually you probably just set up your bank accounts and register them in either WeChat or like Alipay in advance. Because when you arrive in China and you're handling that on site, it could be a little bit ahead of problem. So yeah.
I find that China, like the whole internet and electronic ecosystem, if you are here long term, it's extremely convenient.
Yeah.
But if you've just shown up, it can be tough to get integrated into it. So I never have a problem with my WeChat Pay or Alipay because I've been using it for so long. But when my mom was here last year, she didn't set up WeChat Pay until she got here. And you can link your Visa card to it now, which is cool. But like my mom, I don't think said anything to her bank beforehand. So now she's all of a sudden got payments in China. So I think she used it for like a day or two, and then it was shut down, and she had to contact her bank and let it know, and then it was sorted out again. So, but once you get it figured out, it's very convenient.
Yeah. I singled them out because I was the person editing this video, and among all the guests we interviewed, most of the younger lads, they don't have like payment issues because they're tech savvy. But for elder guests in China, I actually recommend them to keep some the Chinese RMB in hand so that it can be more convenient for them to go around.
Just in case.
Yes, just in case.
It does feel like the system has gotten better over time because, like you said, there was a time when you couldn't add foreign bank cards to Alipay. You needed to have a local account. But in the last few years, with like the amount of tourists coming to China, it's been a game changer, I would say, to add foreign bank cards to these systems. And what I've noticed recently is that you can even make payments to individuals with Alipay. Whereas in the past, like you could only use these things with registered stores and shops to make payments. And now I can pay an individual on Alipay, which is also a game changer when you're dealing with small stall holders and food courts and things.
So other than payment issues, what else they're looking at? Let's take the second video.
Well, I am a Chinese professor. I teach HSK1, but I still need to learn a lot more about the language. I need to speak more, so I think coming here improves my speaking. And I really want to know about the history and culture because, the history we know about China is kind of different, in Europe than here, the original history, so yeah, that's what I'm interested in.
I think similarly the culture, because we are in the Caribbean, so we don't know too much about China, but it's such a robust history. You need so much time to really take it in. So I think that's my biggest thing, the culture, the history, and of course the language.
So we actually came here with our university. We are a group of 20 students, and we went to Shenzhen, Beijing, Shanghai, and Yantai to see all parts of China, just to understand its economy, visited different companies, visited their manufacturing sites, look at like historic and cultural sites.
I would say it's mainly a language barrier coming here, so I feel like people should at least know like basic things like how to say like I want to order this or like how do I get here and things like that. So I would say, because not many people in China speak English, so I feel like it's really good to have like tiny basic phrases prepared.
And I feel like the translation on the apps is a little crazy. Like, I don't think they translated accurately to the language you opt for.
So, Jack, I'll leave this question to you. As a seasoned Chinese speaker, what do you suggest that foreign travelers to learn before they came to China? Like maybe a few simple phrases?
Thank you. Like, 谢谢, 不客气. Like, thank you, you're welcome. I think probably the most important one though is 听不懂. Like I don't know what you're saying. That kind of like fixes the rest of the conversation that they know that there's not going to be a lot getting across there. And then I think maybe like 这个那个多少钱? This, that, how much money? If you want to buy things.
Come again, please.
这个 is this. 那个 is that, if it's slightly further away. And then you can also ask 多少钱, which is just how much does it cost.
Fantastic.
And that can, you could probably buy just about anything if you know how to say those things.
And Xiaochen, I want to ask you, what kind of translation apps do you suggest foreign travelers to use in China?
I feel like actually my go-to choice would be some like, because it's an AI era now, so we have so many AI apps. One of them, me and my parents are often using it. It's called Doubao. That's a very, very good app. And also you can have other apps like DeepSeek, things like that. So basically I feel like most of them did pretty good job in terms of translation.
Doubao is nice because I think you can just like turn it on in like phone call mode and it can like translate in live time in real time.
It's like calling a real friend of you.
So it's pretty accurate.
Generally speaking. But when it comes to like specific terms, probably I feel like probably they're having a problem when it comes to the translation of the names or the sites. That probably you should need to do some starting in advance to keep the names.
So other than translation and language barriers. What else problems do they have? Let's take another video.
Specifically in Beijing, I've sometimes found it difficult to find out to find the correct mini app, because for every attraction you basically need to register via their official mini app, and if you search for it in English on WeChat, it sometimes doesn't find the correct one. So then you have to look up the Chinese name and find the Chinese one, and then sometimes they don't let you sign up with a passport, only with a Chinese ID, and you have to find another special mini app for foreigners. That's a bit complicated, but I haven't had anything like that in other cities. It's only in Beijing.
Oh no, complicated mini apps.
Come on, Beijing.
So what's the solution here?
I think that actually is part of the conversation we just had. Like China basically has its own ecosystem in terms of the apps and things. So if you get used to it, it would be super convenient. But for the first-time visitors, it could be a little bit tricky to figure that out. So I'm only speaking of Beijing's situation. So actually, for most sites in Beijing, I feel like you could get the tickets on site, like the Temple of Heaven shown in this video, and like the Great Wall. But there are just some specific ones, like the Tiananmen Square especially, and also like the Great Hall of the People. So generally for those specific sites, you probably need to, another way to do it is not to register through the mini app of the WeChat, is to register through their website. They also have the official website, like the Forbidden City, like the Tiananmen Square. So probably you need to get things ready done before you visit China on your laptop.
So it doesn't have to be in the mini app?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have to be. It's just like, but the most domestic visitors, we use mini app by default.
I'm so used to mini apps now that I forget that there's like an official website.
Yeah, that's the case. That's the case.
Like the National Museum of China, like I've been trying to get tickets to go there, and it was the same thing. The mini app is a bit more difficult to get the tickets, but they release tickets at 5 o'clock every day, and if you log in through the website, you can register with your passport. So that's like one of the big differences. If the mini app fails, you try a browser and look for the institution's official website. You can get a ticket that way too.
Yeah. And generally we see more and more sites like you can get tickets on site. For instance, like Capitol Museum, which you need an early reservation, but I believe it's like earlier this year, they just scrapped the reservation thing. You can just walk in with a passport. So hopefully the situation will get better. But for now, if you can't get tickets, if you can't deal with the mini app, you probably choose the web browser.
It's funny because I didn't realize until I saw you today that I actually hired Chen last year. When my parents were like, I knew you guys brought an English tour guide, but I didn't know it was the one that I hired last year. I watched him like, that guy looks familiar. And I'm like, that's
fate.
Chen.
Fate and China Popcast brings them together again.
Yeah, so he was the personal tour guide for me when I had my parents here with me, and we went to, it was the Imperial Palace. Right, and that was a place where if we showed up, early enough that day and we went to like the side door, that they would have tickets for passport holders, in case you weren't able to use the mini app or you couldn't figure it out online. So my parents were able to get in that way.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So besides like some of these things that we've spoken on, there's like a myriad of other things that people need when they come on a trip here, such as like transport, ordering food, like from the minute you get off the plane at the airport till you start going around, there's other things that you need. So let's talk about like what apps are musts for you to get before you come or while you're here besides payment. And how do these things help you find the things you need, like food, the bathroom, transport to get around, etc.
Yeah, I think the most critical thing besides the payment is actually about the map, the navigation, maps. Basically, if you have a good map app, you can nail all the other things like the bathrooms, like things like that. I would actually recommend Apple Map for iPhone users.
Right.
They are really up to date. They are operated and maintained pretty well. But for Android users, there is AMap. AMap. The problem for the map app is that we used not to have English versions for the apps, but now the AMap has newly launched its English version last year. So that's a piece of good news for Android users.
That's another game changer. So now we've got 2 English maps that you can use in China. That's great.
Yeah. And for the foods you mentioned, I actually feel like there are 2 ways for you to find the foods.
Okay.
So one way is like you go to visit some place, the most famous specials of that city. For instance, if you talk about Beijing, it's like Peking duck. right? It's like lamb hot pot, things like that. So if those are the carefully planned foods, you just search for the best Peking duck restaurants or the good Peking bud restaurants and you visit it. It's a planned tour. But I think another thing about having food during your trip is that you have some foods that you didn't expect to visit. You just pick them up on the street, or just come into those food shops. So for those kind of way of enjoying foods, I actually recommend to visit some a very famous local food street that local residents would also visit. For Beijing, it's one street is Niujie.
Okay.
That's a Muslim food street.
Yeah.
The other is the area around the Temple of Confucius and the Lama Temple. So that area also have a lot of food. So if you want to go to
Wudaoying
area, like Wudaoying Hutong, the area. So if you visit those two, you can probably improvise and pick up the foods just want to try. Yeah.
I definitely concur because I'm an Android user. So I can't use Apple Maps, but I use AMap. That's the one I use on the regular, and it's very accurate. So I think Google Maps typically in China is not super great in that aspect, but AMap is pretty good. And even you can. If I call a Didi, for example, which is the Chinese equivalent of an Uber, it's really easy, integrated in the map, and it's super accurate. I can see if the car is at a stoplight, how many seconds are left on that stoplight on its way to pick me up. It's almost too much information. But and with AMap now as well, it also has features where you can find food in the general area, local specialties and stuff like that.
Right. And sometimes the drivers chat to you inside the Didi app. So I know, for example, when I'm at the airport and I'm calling a Didi to get to home or something, sometimes they can send you photos of where to wait or where they are. Or I can even send a photo to the driver of where I am, so we can find each other a bit easily, which is one of my favorite things about Didi, is being able to send that. But is there anything more about where can we find good reviews or information about restaurants and things? I like using restaurant review apps, but some people prefer using straight up social media for their references. So where can you get good advice about where to eat?
I generally use Dianping.
Okay, right. So do I.
So, but I feel there is also another way to evaluate the comments or the reviews on the Dianping. So generally, the first thing I check is how long the restaurant has been operating.
Right.
So if it's a restaurant that's been operating for 5 years or 8 years, even 10 years, most likely it's going to be a decent one. So this app and plus some trick of using the apps.
Okay.
But the problem, because I use Dadong Dianping as well, but I think that it doesn't really have English reviews so much. So that's kind of tricky. I think that Red Note has somewhat more of a English kind of part of it going on. So I think Red Note's kind of okay for that. I know a lot of young people now, they really like to use Red Note to find restaurants in China. But then again, a lot of that information is maybe in Chinese, but some on Red Note is still in English. So
there's a location segment on Red Note that you can click. It surrounds where you actually is. So if you click that, for example, we're in Beijing. If you click Beijing, there are a lot of recommendations popping up. So we can also use it as a window for reviews as well.
Apple Maps also has Dianping and Ctrip and Trip.com built into it. So when you click on a place, you're able to then see, it takes you to a restaurant aspect or a Trip.com kind of review or ticketing aspect, which is another, I think, a valuable thing about some of these super apps is that you can buy tickets or restaurant vouchers in them. So I know when I'm looking at a place in the map, so the ecosystem would be, I click on the map takes me to Dianping, and in Dianping I can either buy a ticket for the attraction or I can buy a voucher that can give me a set meal at the restaurant.
In addition to what you said, I feel if you set up Alipay, you basically can get ride hailing through Alipay. You can also get the public transportation, the subway, the bus, with the Alipay app. So just one app and integrated with a lot of functions you're going to use.
We've asked enough questions about how to seek fun stuff and interesting restaurants and what to do, where to go. I'm here actually want to ask more serious questions, like the do's and don'ts in China, what we should look out for, and maybe smoking rules, or even things that we need to aware of. Do you have any suggestions on that front?
Yeah, my suggestion is actually please check the policy for each tourist site you plan to visit. Because for most sites, they sell tickets on site. But for some, just like the Forbidden City or like the Tiananmen Square, as I know, some sites could be very popular during the national holidays or like during the weekends.
Right.
So you need to make sure whether you can get tickets on site or you need to make early booking or early reservations. No one wants to like show up in Beijing and don't when the tickets like book it out and you just stay in the hotel. That's the last thing we want to see.
I've done that. I've done that in other cities. I show up, I'm like, I'm gonna go to this museum, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there, and then I realized the day before that there's no reservations left.
Yeah,
like, all right.
Yeah, most of them you can get tickets on site, but it's a case-by-case scenario, so you probably need to check it. Yeah.
Also interactions with the locals. Since I'm a Chinese, I'm not much of having awareness of that. But I think foreign visitors, when they visit China, especially for a lot of the famous scenic spots like the Forbidden City and also other places, they might not have this in mind, that they're also traveling with Chinese first-time travelers. So they may not know thoroughly what this place means, or they might get they might get requirements for photos or some sort of encounters like that. So in terms of this kind of situation, what should we do?
I think a don't in that aspect, and I had this problem when I first got here as well, is don't get offended too easily, because there's a lot of things that Chinese people might do that perhaps from like your cultural perspective you might think like that's rude. But it's really like there's really no ill will there. They're not trying to offend you. It's really just kind of a difference there. Like one, for example, is Beijing's a big city with a lot of people, and especially in crowded places, people will bump into you and they'll just keep going. They'll bump into you. They won't say anything. And at first, like, you could never do that where I'm from. and like Florida and America, like if you bumped into me and you didn't say anything, it's like you're trying to fight me or something. So at first, I'd be like, what's this guy? He's like, does he not see me here? And now I do that. I've adjusted to the point where I'll just like
a reverse culture shock.
I'll just like blitz my way through like crowds now. I'll just be like bumping into people, and I don't say anything now either, because it's just like sometimes there's just so many people and it's so dense that like if you said sorry every time you bumped into a person, it'd almost be a waste of time. So I think that's like, you know, something that like maybe you think on the surface like, wow, that's rude. How could he do that? And you might get offended. But my advice in a situation like that is first take a step back. Don't get offended too quickly and think about it. Maybe it's just done differently here.
One of my favorite things about that moment is I had to learn some Chinese to be able to like get used to that situation of bumping. So to avoid bumping people, and you can correct my Chinese if I'm wrong, I'll say, can I borrow the space? 借过一下. And then like it literally it changed my mind a little bit, because it helped me understand I'm asking someone to move aside in a very polite way. Can I borrow the space? And then I can move. And when people hear that, it's like they just understand what I mean, and then they just move. I'm like, I don't have to bump people.
They're also surprised that you can speak Chinese.
Yes, I think that also helps.
And also a piece of advice to maybe photo lovers or like photographers. Beijing is a no-fly zone. So if you want to take photos or videos with your drones, maybe that probably maybe not be an option on the table. And also I think for most part of China, you probably need to submit applications first. Because so for drone lovers, that's a piece of advice. And also if you take like, you are like a professional photographers, generally you can bring cameras to the sites, but some sites don't allow visitors to take the tripods into it. Like the Forbidden City, for instance, but some sites is okay. For instance, like the Great Walls, you probably need to check it out before you visit.
Can they bring gimbals?
Yeah, gimbals. Gimbals are usually a no-go as well.
But it depends. If the gimbal is like when it's extended, it's longer than 1.3 meters. Usually, it's prohibited. But if it's shorter one, probably you could bring inside. But even for sites that don't allow people to bring gimbal inside, they usually have free storage area, or free storage space for you to put the gimbals.
I actually want to ask about the power banks issues, because recently it got a lot of attention on Chinese social media that the power banks with 3C logos on it can be brought onto the airplane, and the others cannot. So I think that's a newly introduced regulation. So for a lot of visitors, they would be surprised like the power bank they brought were not allowed to bring onto a plane. So I think you probably need to check it out.
And a lot of my clients, they solve this issue. Very interesting is by ordering a power bank to their hotel in advance. Because nowadays, like a lot of like shopping platforms, they can deliver very accurately on the time you want. So probably a lot of clients, they ask me or like ask us to help to order the power bank in advance. So by the time they arrive at their hotel, they can get it from the concierge.
Another good app to have is Meituan, because you can get delivery really fast places. When I like go on trips to like different cities, there's sometimes hotels where like the air conditioner is just not as cold as you want it to be, and I'll just get like a fan delivered to like my hotel in like 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's like cheap. It's like a $5 fan, but it's great. It does everything I need it to.
Yeah.
So you'll be amazed by how many things you can get from Meituan.
Yeah.
I've seen someone order an umbrella because it started raining and they forgot their umbrella and it just arrived on time. So back to some fun stuff. Now we want to talk about in the segment where to go, when to go, and what to do. Where should we go this summer? I think the point is, I know you're a tour guide here in Beijing, but I'm sure you've got some ideas of what's going on in the rest of China. It's a really big country, and maybe could both of you, each of you at one time, highlight where is interesting and why, looking at North China or South China or Southwest or whatever you like that stands out that people could look at if they're coming to China this summer. Do you want to go first, Jack?
Sure. In summer, I would say 90% of the places in China are going to be hot. There's really no like getting around it. I mean, maybe like Inner Mongolia, Northeast China, maybe a little bit better. Maybe Northern Xinjiang as well. It's pretty nice. But most places are just going to be hot. A place that's just a year-round favorite for me, though, is I think Southwest China. So they call it the Yunguichuan area because it's very unique. So that would be Guizhou, it would be Sichuan, it would be Yunnan province. There, like the food, it's really good. Like you have like spicy and like kind of like zesty kind of food. And
some friends told me like the foods there remind them of like the Mexican foods.
Yeah, the people there and the culture is also very different. So like in Guizhou and Yunnan, for example, you have all these different minority ethnicities.
Yeah.
They speak their own language. They have their own writing systems. You have like the Yi Wen, the E writing. You have the Dongba Wen, which it looks almost like Egyptian hieroglyphics. And you can like see it printed on signs. Like if you go to Starbucks, it's written Starbucks, and you have Starbucks written in the Dongba script as well, right underneath it. Like really cool. And it's always like a unique experience when you go to those places. Also, the terrain itself is incredible. Like Guizhou, like you have like these massive like karst caves and limestone caves. Just last year I went to Guizhou to see the newest world's tallest bridge, because they're always building the world's tallest bridge, but they build a new one like every year or something. So yeah, there's a lot to see in the Southwest in my opinion.
But for me, I feel like I would actually recommend a place in the northeastern part of China. It's like the Changbaishan, the Changbai Mountain. But actually, interestingly, that place was known as a very good natural skiing resort. So most people visit there during the winters for the skiing. But I actually visited there just one day. I was like, what's to see there in the summer days? And I found they had really beautiful grasslands and meadows on the Changbai Mountains. It's a totally different vibe. It's like a grassland around the volcanoes, and the scenery is really beautiful. And the most important thing is that the climate is pretty pleasant during that time. So it's like pretty hot in most part of China, but over there it's like 15 to 20 degrees.
Chen, isn't there a story about, if you go up and if you see the lake, there's something about you're a good person or something, there's something in your heart if you do see the lake on a clear day or something?
Yeah, because that lake was very interesting because the weather there is changing very fast. So no one there could guarantee you're going to see the lake by the time you arrive. And even more interesting that they close the site from time to time because the weather changes so frequently. So I feel like if there is something like you have a very like a crystal clear mind and things like that, you're gonna see the beautiful lake by the time you visit it.
You can also, I think you can see North Korea from on top of Changbai Mountain.
I've heard.
Yeah.
So is there anything else we can highlight in terms of summer fun? This is the time of year where people are trying to keep cool. So do you have any tips around interesting beach spots around China or water parks or just places where people can splash around and have fun this summer?
What comes into my mind now is not necessarily a beach a beach place. It's actually a city in the central part of China. It's called Changsha.
Okay.
It's people.
Hot. That is a hot place.
No, but people call it like the night city. Night city of China. So
the night city.
The night city.
Oh, the night city. Oh, okay.
So during the daytime it's hot, but it's very interesting. Like at that city at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. you're still going to see people walking on the streets and shopping. So I feel like maybe we just take a different approach. We don't go out during the daytime. We go out in the nighttime. Right. And there is a very interesting shopping mall there. It's basically rebuilt as a Chinese city in the 80s or 90s. And the outside it looks like just like a regular shopping mall. But the moment you walk inside, you find you was in a totally different, like retro city. So that's what I think of, actually.
Interesting. So instead of tackling the day, you're saying go to a city like Changsha where you can experience the nightlife and it's just cooler.
Yeah.
Got you.
And you don't have to deal with jet lag.
No, you don't.
You just stay on your own country's clock. You show up, do stuff at night.
Changsha definitely did have that nightlife when I experienced it, because I remember the places were open late and you could just kind of walk around outside, and there were lots of tables and people just out late at night eating and drinking and enjoying their lives. Yeah. Right. And for you?
So I find in Beijing during the summer, paddle boarding is kind of fun.
And that's a new trend.
Yeah, and you don't even have to have your own. You can rent them, and it's pretty cheap. You can get it done for probably like $20, maybe $30, and you can rent it the whole day. Yeah. And there's like a lot of cool rivers in Beijing that are like pretty clean. You can swim in them and everything, and it's nice and cool. Like Liangma River is pretty good. I also did it over in the west, I think by like Bago or somewhere in that general Huoqing or in that general vicinity. And paddleboarding is a lot of fun. It's like super chill. If you're hot, you jump in, you get back on your paddleboard, and
that's a new trend.
Yes.
In the city actually. Yeah.
And I'm thinking about Beidaihe and Qingdao. For instance, they have really good beaches, and also for summer fun, you can enjoy the beer festival over there.
I'm an annual customer there.
That also reminds me, there is a Anaya resort over there. It's more like a beach resort village, but they build a lot of things like the library on the beach and things like that. So you can probably spend an afternoon in the library, and you can also enjoy the beach scenery at that place.
I see it as an overpriced place. It's quite artsy though.
Yeah.
I think Shandong, what you said, Qingdao, is good. I was there once in the summer. Pretty nice. Yantai as well. Yantai is cool because it has a lot of like wine vineyards that are they also double as a resort. So you can like stay in the wine vineyard. I've stayed at one once where you have like, just vines of like grapes and stuff, and you can try the wine there, and then like you're right by the coast. Yeah. So you live like in the wine vineyard, and it's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. I found the Qingdao Beer Festival to be more than just beer. It's just a big fun party with lots of tents and music and DJs, and probably one of the happiest experiences I have in China every year. But it's just a lot of...
Every year?
I go every year. It's like my tradition now. And I go and I meet people from around China and I share with them. And there's a lot of food to try, and like if you have kids, they've got like rides over there. The beach is right there. The water's actually warm. I'm looking for friends to go with this year. So let's see how that goes.
When is it?
It tends to be mid-July to mid-August every year, and there's a few spots around Qingdao, but the whole city just comes alive with the festival. Yeah.
So we've mentioned where to go and when to go and what to do. I want to expand the question a little bit around Chinese holidays, because that's the time when Chinese people also travel, especially for Spring Festival and May holiday and national holidays. So when foreign visitors come to China, they will be amazed by how many people are filled in these tourist spots as well, right? And what do you have for suggestions for people who travel during those periods of time?
My suggestion is don't. My suggestion.
So I think my suggestion is similar. Like reschedule the date if you can. But it's interesting. Like a couple of days ago, we received an interview of a local newspaper, and they're asking us that's in April, and they're asking us you're gonna have very busy. Like a golden week of May, right? Because it's like golden week. I was like, no, we're taking day off. It was like, what? I said, because it's far too crowded, so we actually suggest most clients to reschedule. But however, will be some cases that you can schedule, but don't be panicked. There's still a way to manage things, because usually the golden week of the national holiday is like 5 or 7 days. and the first 2 days will be the most crowded day. So try to avoid the most top historical sites on the first 2 days. For instance, take Beijing example. If you visit Beijing, don't visit Forbidden City, don't visit Temple of Heaven on the first 2 days. Instead, there will also be some like hidden jewels, like hidden resort, hidden attractions. Like for instance, for Beijing, you got Gubei Water Town. You got Jinshanling Great Wall, you got like Smatai Great Wall, you got the main tombs, you got the sites that are further away to the city that are still, still acceptable on the first 2 or first 3 days. So when you can reschedule, we suggest you to change the itinerary. And on the towards the end of the holiday, like the last day or the second last day, you probably could visit the top tourist sites and it will be less crowded. Yeah.
It's actually the opposite though for Chinese New Year break. Like if you travel on the first couple of days of Chinese New Year, there's like no one around. So like in 2023, in January during Chinese New Year, I went to the Terracotta Warrior place. And I was there on Chinese New Year's Eve. So it's still part of the holiday, but it was the very beginning of it. And when I was there, like I think it was pit number 1, where it has like all those Terracotta Warriors. I was like in this massive place. I was like one of the only people there.
Yeah, I mentioned this because I've also got foreign friends in China during the Spring Festival, and they mentioned that all the local restaurants and the fancy restaurants are closed, and they have to eat McDonald's. So that's quite bad experiences for them. But if you are looking for true Spring Festival experiences in China, you do want to come during this period of time and maybe stay with your Chinese friends.
Okay, so for this question, I think we're gonna ask Min Rui and Chen. We want to know, like, out of all the places that we've been talking about, where do locals go in China that international tourists are often missing? So every couple of years, there'll be like a spot that becomes trendy. Take, for example, a few years ago, Zibo suddenly became the hot place, and everyone was going to Zibo to eat chuar and to enjoy their place, right? And suddenly, like, that becomes a spot, and foreign tourists are not going there because they plan their itineraries for the big cities. So at the moment, Min Rui, what do you think are like the top spots that people are missing?
I think it all depends on the viability. As a Beijinger myself, I tend to use my weekends to fully utilize my weekend days to travel. So my top priority for a travel destination is actually within the Hebei region, Hebei province. So
这么近那么美
Yeah, 这么近那么美，周末去河北 So close, so beautiful. You have a weekend getaway in Hebei province. And recently I've done Zhangjiakou, the Zhengding County, and also Baoding City. They're all very fun places to visit in Zhangjiakou. A lot of people use this as a summer getaway because the temperature is a lot cooler. It also offers winter fun as well because it's once hosted the Olympic Games there. So the skiing slopes are quite fancy in terms of the competition-wise and also for the quality of snow. So they can enjoy high quality skiing experiences there. And for maybe in Zhengding, you can go see the ancient towers there. They have very well preserved architectures over there. I think maybe Chen can talk about long distance trips.
So I feel like it's not like the places you visit. For me, it's more like the way I enjoy the tours. So for me, I actually have one way is like I would prefer to rent a car. And in China, we have so many car renting service providers. You can rent a car from one city and return it at the other city. So I tend to like do a drive by myself tour with my family. Maybe we just drive like several hours and we stop at the city and we just drive all the way along to the final destination. So that's one way I enjoyed it. But sadly, for foreign visitors, you probably need to deal with like the license or things like that. You probably need to have a Chinese friend to deal with that. Another way I would do is actually to travel by the railway, by the high-speed train. For instance, a lot of people you just take the high-speed train directly from Beijing to Xi'an, or like to other cities. But for me, I prefer to make a stop along the way. For instance, last year we stopped by the Xuchang Xichang City, there is actually a very famous supermarket there.
Yeah.
And we just stop there for a day, and we just take a look at the supermarket, and then we just head on to the next city.
Yeah.
So along the way, it doesn't have to be like a very planned, like a very good, like historical place. It can be just like a city for one day or that's for 2 days, and you just take a look, enjoy the food, you hang around in the city area, and you head out for the next spot. So that's also a way I would like to enjoy the tour.
Is it Pangdonglai we're talking about?
Yeah. That's the supermarket.
Very standard service, very good quality products.
Henan, right?
Yeah, Henan province,
province.
because it's along the way. And that's the very first time in my life I've seen people waiting in queue for like half an hour to 1 hour to get inside the supermarket. So that's a very funny experience. But in terms of the destination, I think like Datong in Shanxi province near Beijing is also a good place to visit.
I agree.
Especially there is a wooden pagoda that has been around for roughly 1,000 years, 应县木塔. So that wooden pagoda is one of the few things that just strike me, because I'm a tour guide. I visit too many tourist sites and historical sites. But that pagoda, the moment you visit it, you realize it's 1,000-year-old ancient wooden pagoda. So I feel like that's a hidden jewel or missing jewel along the way from Beijing to inner city in the central China, actually.
I agree with Datong. I feel like it's not super, it's not one that really comes to mind for a lot of, foreign travelers. But I went to Datong once just for like a 2 or 3 day weekend, and I had like a lot of fun. It also has like that city wall still intact, kind of like Xi'an.
Yeah.
And at the time, like me and my friend, we just rode bikes on top of the city wall and stuff. The food there was also really good. Mount Hung, one of the 5 great mountains, is also there. And you have one place that I thought was really cool was the Xuankong Temple.
Oh yeah, the hanging temple.
Yes. It's like on the hanging off the side of a cliff, right?
Yeah.
Did you go to the grottos in Datong to see the?
I did. Yungang Shikuo.
The grottos.
Yungang grottos are also very cool. There's really a lot to see in Datong.
Yeah.
But you were talking about shopping, which does bring us to our next segment, is about what people should definitely take home with them. So, bearing in mind your luggage limits on your airline, some people, when they come into China, they leave a little bit of room in their suitcase because they know they're going to do some shopping. But things have changed, I think, in terms of, what people used to typically take home, like tea, which was like the number one thing people used to do. But what do all of you think people should definitely take home with them now if they're visiting China? Maybe you want to try first, Jack. What did your parents look at?
So it's really never anything in particular, and I feel like it's something you really can't predict what you'll want to take home either. I remember when I was traveling with my parents, it was really just kind of something that just popped out to them by chance. Like they were going through different stores, or they were going here and there. Maybe like before they came, they thought, oh, I want to get some tea, or I want to get, I don't know, like a piece of silk or something that screams China, right? But when they got here, they found out that like there's a lot of like types of like art or crafts that they've never even heard of, never even seen. And I think it was like a type of art where it's like this orb, but it's painted from the inside. I forget what it's called, but that's something that really just like stood out to my mom at the time. She's like, that's so cool. And that's just like, as soon as she saw it, it's like, that's the one, that's what I want to take home. So I think it's, it's really not something you can plan for. It's really something that pops out to you personally.
I totally agree with Jack, because I think the most amazing souvenir you got is the thing that pops up.
Right.
So we actually had one client. He said he had a thing for like collecting beer cups. So whenever he visited one place, he got a beer cup. For Qingdao, he collected the Qingdao beer cup. For Beijing, he collected the Yanjing beer cup. So I feel like that's a very personal thing. But
there are a lot of people questioning about tax refund policies, especially short-term international visitors, because they can benefit from that a lot.
Here is how they do this. They give you a paper document, says that you can get tax refund for this, but you still need to go to the customs counter at the airport to do the procedure. So that roughly takes like 1 or 2 hours actually. So you probably need to arrive earlier. So that's actually. But we're also going to see more and more shops support like tax refund on site. So you don't have to do all the paperwork at the airport, but not all of them. But hopefully we're going to see more shops that are going to support this actually.
Fantastic. I want to add up one more question to Chen. In the past, we used to have a lot of the group package tour groups from foreign countries.
Yeah.
And now, since you are working with smaller groups, what is that about?
I feel like actually nowadays visitors prefer a more like a flexibility of the tour they have, and people all have their like own personal like preferences, things like that. Some might prefer historical sites, some might want to see a more modern like shopping or things like that. By the way, there is a vintage shopping mall in Beijing that a lot of clients mentioned they want to visit. So actually I feel like nowadays more and more visitors, they prefer to travel in smaller groups, like a group of 3 to 5, and they want to have a more flexible schedule, like a flexible itinerary.
So how should we find you?
Really? Probably you see our name on the flag, on the tour guide flag. This is tour guide Chen. So you probably search us on any social platforms. You probably will find us.
So Jack, is there any upcoming project that you're working on?
Shenzhen will be hosting the APEC conference in November, I think it is. So we are doing a couple videos about Shenzhen. Now Shenzhen, I've been there a couple times. Every time I go, I really like the city. It's just got very much a modern vibe to it, and there's like a lot of stuff happening there, very dynamic. So we're going to be looking at like the real tech side of Shenzhen. We're also going to be looking at kind of like the more leisurely, kind of like laid back, kind of like lifestyle of Shenzhen as well.
Thank you for joining us, Jack and Chen. It's been really great having you on the show, and I hope that our viewers and listeners take some interesting tidbits from your experiences. Min Rui, I feel like I've certainly learned that in the past, but it feels like there's, as Chen was saying, there's more support now, and that a trip to China is probably going to be a bit smoother than expected. Anything that you can highlight that you've remembered from today?
Yeah, I learned from Chen that it's always good to go to the tax refund desk earlier. So that's quite important to get the money back. That was China Popcast, where we unpack culture, popping trends around China and even in the world. Please like, share, and comment, and let us know what you think and what you are curious about today's China. I think that's all for this episode, and bye for now.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
See you.